This is Ken Pyle with VOD TV. We're at the NCTA show. We're with Mark Lieberman, the CEO of Viamedia. Yeah. And Mark, you had an announcement today about your deal with Placemedia. Why don't you tell us briefly about that?
Yeah, Placemedia is actually a division of Viamedia, and what Placemedia is an online programmatic ad exchange for television, for linear television. And one of the things that makes Placemedia unique is its relationship with its parent company, Viamedia, and the fact that we have 300 local salespeople around the country and 50 different cable company or MVPD partnerships. And so what we did today is we announced a relationship with Placemedia and Viamedia and with some of our MVPD partners, in which we're going to be rolling out what we call Placemedia Local or Local Engage. And what Local Engage is it's an online portal to make it really easy for local advertisers to be able to buy media on an impression basis. And what that means is that you can buy audiences as opposed to just buying programs based on gross rating points. And that's worked really well on the internet. And then we're bringing that now to television, and we're bringing that to local television, which nobody else in the industry is doing or really has the capability of doing.
I think there's been attempts at this in the past, but it's probably different in the sense that you have this established base of equipment out there and ad insertion equipment out there, right?
Yeah, well, and also what we've done on Placemedia is that we're acquiring lots of data, set-top box data, Axiom data using Personix, Polk data using automotive, and the set-top box data comes from Rentrack, which is part of our announcement today. And set-top box data, certainly at the local level, is much more powerful than the diary markets that exist and the LPMs or local people meter markets. And so it's using that data that we're able to actually do a much better job of targeting the right households, on the basis of the right programs, and really buying audiences. And what I think, again, what makes us different than others is that we've got these 300 local salespeople with those local relationships with local advertisers that we can now bring into the programmatic world and really make that a resource for the mid-size MVPDs that just didn't have access to something like this before.
So do you anticipate advertisers going in and kind of doing this themselves, or your folks actually kind of hand-holding them and at least kind of getting them used to kind of figuring out where their ad should go?
Yeah, I think it's a crawl, walk, run strategy in which what we're going to do is we'll probably handhold at the very beginning, but our goal is to make this really easy for advertisers, both national, which is what Placemedia focuses on today, and local, which is what Local Engage is all about, to make it a self-service portal to allow them to ultimately do it themselves.
So I guess the idea too is this probably will help you as far as the efficiency of unused inventory. You'll be able to use up more of the inventory, is that?
Exactly. So it really is focused today on long tail inventory, but it becomes more and more efficient, and you're able to drive the CPMs up because the advertisers, it's that much easier, what's called effective CPM, the eCPM, because they're targeting on a particular audience. It'll be easier and easier, and they'll be able to do it themselves. It'll drive more ad revenues and bring it more and more into more premium related inventory.
And so from a perspective of the actual user interface, is there something that's really easy for that, say it's an auto dealer to go in there and say, okay, I want to target males 50 and up or something? That's
the objective. But again, this is new to both the industry and certainly new at the local level. Some of the larger agencies, some of the largest advertisers tend to be a little bit more sophisticated. What we're trying to do is, again, make it as accessible as possible, and that's why at the beginning we'll be holding their hands, and once they hopefully do a few campaigns, then they have the ability to do it themselves.
Which gets back to the advantage that you bring to this of having that legacy of not only the equipment but the people there to kind of shepherd this along, as opposed to just starting with something new, right?
Yes, and what's great, and I think what makes Viamedia unique, and this is a little bit of contrarian logic, is that we have those 300 salespeople, but we now combine that with kind of an automated programmatic computer-to-computer capability. There's few companies that are doing the programmatic computer-to-computer, and there's some companies that have that army of salespeople, but I really don't think that there's any companies out there that have both.
Now, from a actual ad insertion into the content, you're doing this for linear TV, of course, but what about on-demand content? Do you see that as a possibility in the near term or longer term?
Yeah, absolutely. We have, as part of Viamedia, we have a business unit called VOS, or Viamedia Online Services. and we're already working with some of the online programmatic exchanges as well as RTB, real-time bidding platforms, and so the ultimate vision here is to be able to do this cross-media, so you can do it for television and online, because at the end of the day, the advertiser wants to get in front of the right audience in order to drive product sales or service sales, depending on what their business is. And so our vision is to be able to make that a resource in local markets so that the advertiser can get in front of the right audience, whether that audience is watching it on television, traditional television, or watching it on non-traditional television, on mobile devices, on tablets, on PCs. And that's really where we want to end up going.
Yeah, and I imagine then you also get down, again, back to the per person basis, so you know that it's me watching it, not my son or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's the vision of addressable advertising. Right. But really what the advertisers want to make sure is they can aggregate up enough impressions. And when you get all the way down to the person, then it's really hard to aggregate up enough impressions. Also, it raises all kinds of privacy issues. So that's one thing that we're always going to be sensitive to, is to make sure that we never step across that privacy line.
Right. I guess I should have said the group of people who are using these kinds of devices then.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. But you know, that's again the direction the industry is going. And VOD, video on demand, and using things like dynamic ad insertion by being able to insert the right ads into VOD. And it's not just movies on demand, but you know, right now there's a lot of viewing that's taking place for programs on demand. So it's no longer appointment television, and it gives the industry, the TV industry, the ability to recapture inventory. Because once you're beyond that C3 window and you're watching it on VOD, then the programmers can actually recapture that inventory. So it's another opportunity for an advertiser to actually go in there. And that's when you're able to start aggregating up a lot more impressions.
And then I would imagine too, does it go beyond the actual video ad? Do you see it, banner ads and that sort of thing morphing into, kind of the web space at some point? Or no?
Yeah, yes and no. Again, Placemedia and Viamedia, we're very focused on the sight, sound, and motion and power engagement of television. Television, I'm a big believer in television. We're going through a golden age, a renaissance of TV programming. And it is the best platform, the most engaging platform for advertisers to get across their message. It'll always be a complement, I think, with things like banners and buttons and search, etc. But we really focus more on the video side, and whether that's online video using our VOS solutions, or it's Placemedia, which captures, as you said, some of that longer tail inventory, or Viamedia, which really focuses on the premium inventory.
Well, super, Mark. I appreciate your update on this, and good luck with it.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay.